How often do you think about the Oscars? About how many Oscar-winning films there are and how many you've seen? Yeah, there's a few famous Oscar-winning films that we've all seen. The Godfather and Lord of the Rings and Titanic. I'm King of the World, all that stuff. But the Oscars have been running since 1927. There are currently over 1,000 films, feature-length films, which have won an Oscar. How many have you seen? I did the numbers for myself. It's not many, and I consider myself quite a movie buff. So here then is the premise of this podcast. Every episode, I and a rotating cast of 2 guests will randomly select one of the 1,000 films that have won an Oscar, watch it, and talk about it, with the only requirement being that one of the 3 people on each episode has to have never seen the movie before we talk about it. That will get difficult with Star Wars. Please note that our coverage of a movie does not constitute an endorsement of it. My least favorite movie of 2016, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, won an Oscar for Best Makeup, while my favorite movie of 2016, The Handmaiden, wasn't even nominated for anything. Please also note that our coverage of a movie is not a blanket endorsement of any or all of the people involved in it. A lot of terrible people have won Oscars. Kevin Spacey won an Oscar 20 years before he was outed as an abuser, and Roman Polanski won one 20 years after. But every film, good, bad, or in many cases mediocre, that has won an Oscar is an important part of film history just for being there. And they all, on some level, deserve a tiny bit of consideration, even if that consideration ends up concluding that it's garbage. And with all of that in mind, I'm your host, as always, Ellie McConaughey, and with me today is Jasmine Garcia.
I've had more entertaining, authentic exposure to the nations of the world strolling through Epcot.
And Todd.
I gotta say, this made a weird deviation from how much darker can my path down this show get. So I'm just gonna warn now, if you somehow roll the zone of interest, I'm obliged to put my hand in that box of pain.
You know what? I'll keep you in mind. And we are not here today to talk about Zone of Interest. We are, in fact, here today to talk about Around the World in 80 Days, the 1956 film that won Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Color, Best Film Editing, and Best Music Score of a Dramatic or Comedy Picture at the 29th Academy Awards.
Did they have a hard-on for Rule Britannia?
I guess so.
It was the 50s, so probably?
Jesus.
I mean, Jasmine, you've actually been here to cover another movie that from this Oscars.
Yes, The King and I. Another Epcot-coded movie that, as I mentioned in that episode.
It's I've never actually read Around the World in 80 Days, the book. I'm not.
Me neither.
I read an abridged version in school. That's the closest I've come to this. I actually did do a revisit of the Wikipedia pages. Do I remember this correctly? So,
I was not a huge Jules Verne lady as a kid, and while I am positive that I've seen the one from the 90s, the 2000s,
The Jackie Chan one, that was 2004.
Yeah, Steve Coogan, what are you doing?
That should indicate that all I could remember about it is I think Jackie Chan was in it. Is that possible?
I remember in the promos they were really emphasizing this. Go to the right. No, my right. Stop helping me! That's the only thing I remember of that because I did not watch it. My big childhood Around the World in 8 Days thing was twofold. It was a Mickey and Friends short and Tweety's High Flying Adventure.
I think there's a Euro dance song called Around the World. There's a
Daft
Punk song called Around the World.
Oh God!
Now, actually, when you look this up on Wikipedia, you just type in "Around the World." That Eurobeat one is I think it's one of the top 3 results.
Like the la 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 la, that one.
That's the one.
That's the bitch. Have fun with that stuck in your head, audience, for the rest of the day.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
It's really interesting because, as I just rattled off, this movie won a bunch of Oscars, and it was not an obscure movie. This movie was an insanely huge hit. For $42 million in 56 is a big return.
Wow.
I've never heard anyone bring it up.
Nope.
I mean, especially when you, as I was saying before we officially signed on for this, you look at some of the movies it was up against, and it is a, how in the hell did this happen? Not that this was bad, but it's like you're up against things like the Ten Commandments, Giant. The idea that this beat them is in 2025. It's a, were they high?
Mm-hmm. We talk about this a lot
Mm-hmm.
about how the movies that won are not necessarily the movies that lasted.
I mean, that's literally how I started on this show.
True. And so like this is a really big one cuz like I mean like I said in I have literally my first notes in this movie, and like the one that keeps coming back is, man, this is like the most mid 1950s movie ever fucking made.
It's not bad, but there's definitely a. It is just weird to sit down and go, this one Best Picture. It just doesn't seem right.
It exists.
Yeah,
It exists.
it's a serviceable, breezy kind of globe-trotting adventure movie. You could definitely do better, but
I would agree with the breezy if it wasn't 3 fucking hours.
It is 3 fucking hours.
true, and it's very vignette heavy.
Honestly, huge chunks of it are just like I don't know. I didn't bother to read too much about the production. Maybe I should have. I feel like this movie had to have had a very interesting production, if only for Jesus Christ. Did you look at the list of cameos?
That is a murderer's row of just how many big names can we cram into this.
Frank Sinatra, what are you doing here?
See, I think that was the one that bugged me the most, just because they hold on that face. It's like they're waiting for the audience to go, "Oh my god!"
I remember one of my favorite stories from any production ever is there's a beat in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back where Mark Hamill has a cameo, and when he shows up, like this movie stops for like 3 seconds, so hey kids, it's Mark Hamill can pop up on the screen. And supposedly that was based on the fact that they did with like not there, and test audiences didn't recognize him,
Ow.
which is funny, but also like it's what makes the scene funny. Kevin, why didn't you put that in there in the first place? It's a lot of it are just like B-roll of whatever location they're in at that particular moment, which makes me think that like audience, because like I'm trying to put myself in like the 1950s
Yeah.
mindset watching this film. Like, okay, why did this movie make $42 million against a $6 million budget? Neither of which are small amounts of money in '56. And the end result I'm landing on is like, where else are they going to go get to see footage of like India or the mountains that they should go over? I don't think those are the actual mountains. Or like, see an actual bullfight or something. Well, sort of an actual bullfight.
I was so worried they were going to kill that poor thing.
Yeah, they skipped the part where they kill the bull. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it turns out, no, the bull did not die, because there was a very real possibility of that. This was before the ASPCA
Mhm.
started monitoring film sets, so I looked it up for my own sanity. The bull was okay.
Back during the old days when westerns were a horse graveyard.
Very dark, but funny. Yeah, I was like, I picked this one because I wanted something that like I'd never really seen. I wanted something kind of like new to me,
Mhm.
and because I think all three of us are on the hadn't seen this before.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Even though for some reason the early 2000s was really on a let's adapt this story for children kick for some reason.
Yeah,
Now that looking back at the adaptations, like, what? How did that happen?
I don't know. It's in the public domain, which means this is technically a crossover with Jez's podcast.
Sure is.
So I guess we'll ask, why does the story endure at the end? Because I presume you're not going to want to cover it again.
I'm open to it, if only because I think it'd be funny to see how many people we could get to watch this. I mean, if there's one thing that's nice is that you could really just have it on as background noise and not miss very much.
Yeah, I mean, there's large stretches where it's like you can get to get a drink and it's just set piece.
Literally, the version I watched had a full-on intermission, so I'm like, okay, I will in fact get up and use the bathroom.
Exactly.
Not only an intermission, if you watch the version that is on Internet Archive, bless them for having it up there, it has an intermission and end music.
Yes, it does.
Mm.
Thank you, archive.org.
Thank you, archive.org.
Always throwing us a lifeline. We love you.
You enable you enable me to harm myself and my friends.
Oh, Jesus. It's just there's really just not much to talk about in this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call this one harm. I mean, it's like, so the thoughts that I had of like what to discuss about this film. The first one is going to be the one that like sticks out to people the most, which is the really intense racial insensitivity.
Yeah.
That's basically the most interesting thing about the movie, and that sucks.
Yeah. There's almost the brownie point of you kind of take the piss out of the British a little, but it's the bare minimum.
They do take the piss out of the British. They also definitely take the piss out of America. So like, I mean, it's hard to even get like super mad at it at that point. It's like, oh, you're just being a dick. You're just being a dickhead to everybody.
Yeah.
I do like the recurring motif where like Fogg is just utterly incapable of seeing outside of what his pre-existing idea of something is. Like, you know,
Yeah.
he lands in this town. It's like, why aren't they speaking French? Because we're in Spain.
It's like, my dude, what did you expect?
The entire Fogg is a. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's like the way they introduce him is like particular to a fault. There is almost the sense of, is there a school of thought now that looks at this guy as, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to put this.
OCD?
Let's go with that one.
Like, it's monk-coded OCD, but yeah.
I mean, like, so this is based on a book from what, the 1870s.
Something like that, if Back to the Future 3 is to be believed.
Okay, so I'll go with 1870s. I know it's somewhere in the late 1800s. What am I doing? I have the internet right here. I can literally
Yes. 1872, you got it in one.
got it in one. Oh, so you know that you will, if you go over older literature, as I suspect Jasmine often do.
Yeah.
You will see a lot of characters who, for one reason or another, read as autistic or OCD or sometimes schizophrenic.
Or some kind of neurodivergent.
Right, but who aren't called that. Like, you will see PTSD all over art from post World War One without it ever being called that because they don't know what that term is. They usually just call it shell shocked.
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a version of this with David Tennant as Fogg.
Wait, what?
Masterpiece PBS, apparently.
It's like, because I saw a listing for one with Pierce Brosnan. I had missed this one.
Pierce Brosnan?
It was like a made-for-TV miniseries.
Yep, it was a drama series, and yep, that is definitely David Tennant and a silly mustache. I must read that. I must see this at some point. That looks like it's a lot more fun than this.
Now, when we say silly mustache, where are we landing here? Like Grand Budapest Hotel silly, John Waters silly?
I would say Budapest Hotel is close.
Okay.
Okay, I can see that kind of working.
Yeah, no, I mean, he looks gorgeous as ever, but what else is new?
Georgia, come beat up Jasmine.
Wow.
Did I get that name right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah. I've never watched. I David Tennant's a great actor, but unfortunately, I haven't seen most of the stuff he's best known for. So, like, people are like, "Oh yeah, he's really good in Doctor Who." I'm like, "That's nice. Wouldn't know." So I just know a lot of stuff about him vicariously. What was my point going to be? So you will see. So I think it's quite possible that like Fogg was based in whole or in part on someone who Verne knew who had what we would call OCD now, but they just didn't know that term, and he got away with it because he was rich. They never actually explain why Fogg is rich in this.
Yeah.
Or did I just miss it?
No, because there's even a specific comment of like some of the other people at the club aren't sure where this guy got his money from.
Right, which is why they think he stole the money that was robbed from the Bank of England.
I mean, honestly, the theory I'd look at, given the way the story plays out, I'm almost wondering if Fogg is just a problem gambler that got really lucky.
He can count cards.
Or he was just from old. I mean, yeah, he's obsessed with
Whist.
that sort of thing. That seems like the kind of thing that would happen.
Which I'm sorry, I do need to point that out here. I don't remember if that's the original book or not, but the idea that like he is basically courts Princess Aouda over his card game skills that's something.
That is something.
I do like that when he's like exiting the jail cell at the very end. and he's insulting the cop. His like big, fuck you final insult is you play an abominable game of whist.
He was very good at insulting people, I have to say. That there's some good dry British humor in this.
David Niven plays this character as it's the embodiment of the old meme, I'm so English I shit the queen.
Mm. Whatever else you can say about it, maybe it's not funny enough to. I use this as my like example to, because it's the most recent example of it. Like, people ask me like, was the Naked Gun remake good? I'm like, was it a great movie? Probably not, but I laughed for 85 minutes, and it's roughly 85 minutes long, so
Yeah.
I'd say it did its job.
that's its job. And this movie is not as consistently funny as that, but I do have several extremely good comedy lines, many of them from Fogg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also fond of Passepartout kind of constantly quietly dragging Fogg right behind him. Like, I think he had a mother, but I'm not certain, is a really good response to if he has any women in his life.
And also just how he's kind of being a proto-passport bro throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. He's Passepartout is the hero of the movie, right? Like, that's the joke.
Okay, he's the hyper capable one, yes.
Oh. Can you imagine if he had to go through that with someone else?
But also he keeps on getting into trouble, so
They have a weird dynamic.
yeah. Not even decently queer-coded.
Yeah, they're not queer-coded at all. Honestly, I don't buy his relationship with Aouda either.
No.
I mean, some of that, I hate to say it, some of that's just the David Niven of it all.
I'm sure I've seen him in other stuff. Let me look at his...
I mean, the one thing which immediately comes to mind, and I would recommend this, although I don't think it can qualify for the show, is the comedy Murder by Death.
Okay.
Where it's like he basically plays a proxy version of like is it Nick Charles from The Thin Man?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's a funny movie, albeit with the proviso. They have Peter Sellers playing their Charlie Chan equivalent with the complete. They lean into the joke about the fact the character is Yellowface. Like, it's putting a hat on it, but just be warned that's there.
Fair enough, I guess. But, I said it in the chat, like, Aouda is interesting because obviously deeply, deeply offensive character, but she also at the very least has a character beyond the stereotypes, which I was surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of want somebody to give her, like, that novel James that was from the point of view of Jim from Huckleberry Finn. I want her to get that treatment someday.
I mean, public domain, somebody can get on this. 'Cause you're right, there is an angle there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if any South Asian authors want to do that, go nuts.
I feel like I've seen the 35 version of Mutiny on the Bounty, but apparently he doesn't have any lines in that. Oh, I've seen Charge of the Light Brigade. Okay, there it is. Oh my god, he was in that movie that's upcoming. He was in an early version of that movie that's upcoming that everyone's excited for, Wuthering Heights.
Oof.
Who's excited for the new version of Wuthering Heights?
There's almost a weird bonkers vibe there. I'm like, let's see how this goes.
All right.
Let's be clear. I'm not necessarily saying good. I'm just like, there's a tragedy here. I'm like, let's just let it cook.
Maybe the stew will be bad, but you want to let him cook.
It's like, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the kitchen at least.
There you go. I don't know. I don't think I've seen him in anything in particular, unfortunately, which is a shame because he has an ocean of credits.
Yeah, I gotta double check this else I can think of besides Murder by Death.
I will have to watch that one.
I mean, if it helps the things along with it, Neil Simon script.
I feel that is good. That is a selling point. I feel like I missed seeing. Oh, he was in Guns of Navarone. There we are. Okay, seen Guns of Navarone. The question has been answered. I'm certainly not stalling for time. To avoid talking about a deeply insubstantial movie.
I mean, we'll say is along some lines, I'm kind of curious to look up some of the other stuff that his co-star Cantinflas has been in. Both just in general, he's got a good presence, and also to make up for the fact that I wasn't king in the chat. It took me like a better part of an hour to shake my ache out of my head. That every time I was hearing his voice, I was just hearing Vlada from The Critic, which I kind of had to wonder, like, was the person playing Vlada deliberately kind of trying to do that sort of affect, or is it just a really happy coincidence?
I will say, looking at his Wikipedia page, Cantinflas, he was mostly a Mexican actor.
Okay, so we're gonna file this under happy coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with Passport 2. Again, like part of the problem is that like the difference between this and The King and I from the same year is that like The King and I is a movie that is taking itself reasonably seriously, as
Yeah.
seriously as a musical can.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is taking itself so unseriously that I have trouble summoning any desire to be offended by any of the stuff that's offensive. Like Shirley MacLaine plays an Indian woman. She plays Aouda, and they can barely summon up like the time to go like, oh, she was she went to school in England. That's why she doesn't sound Indian. Okay, we're going on.
And it's like, at least she's not in brownface, so partial credit, I guess.
I mean, she definitely is. Shirley MacLaine was a pale woman.
Is
Okay, let's wait. She's not as bad as it could have been.
No, it's not as bad as it could have been.
and like there is a point where I sort of have to. I don't want to say like ignore that because like
No, of course
it's
not.
shit.
Yeah.
It's shit. It will always be shit that they did that. But also, this movie's 60 years old. What am I gonna do? You know, nearly 70.
I mean, there's going to be other episodes in the show more recent than this where this is going to come up. Dallas Buyers
Yeah.
Club and Year of Living Dangerous. I'm looking at you.
We'll talk about Dallas Buyers Club someday.
Oof.
To quote Jenny Nicholson, it's really weird that movie producers keep thinking, well, Jared Leto may have some allegations, but at least he looks weird, stars in box office bombs, and is a bad actor.
That man has to have made a deal with some eldritch chaos god. There's no other explanation.
He knows where some body is buried.
Mm-hmm.
Bodies, probably.
I might be talking myself into covering Dallas Buyers Club for the movie I hate this January. Anyway.
Oh, Ellie.
Anyway, on this movie, which does not have Jared Leto, it has that going for it.
Hooray!
We're from the same decade, winning in fact the same award that this one won. We will eventually have to talk about West Side Story and who played Maria in that adaptation.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
and I said it earlier. We also talked about The King and I from this same year. Hey, Yul Brynner, are you from Southeast Asia?
No?
I have Mongolian. No, you don't. Shut up. That's not the same thing.
No. But yeah, I kind of feel similarly about this as I do about Song of the South, which I have unfortunately watched in the past.
Also eligible.
Oh, jeez.
Of course it is. Eligible for both of ours, technically.
Yep.
But as much as, yes, the racial stereotypes are bad, it's also just fucking boring.
It's boring and just like too silly for me to get righteously indignant about it.
I mean, I think that puts it perfectly. It's like, it doesn't take itself seriously enough, so you're almost at that, I can't stay mad at you.
I mean, I could stay mad. I mean, I could be mad that you're kind of wasting 3 hours of my life.
Okay, for that, that one's a fair one.
Right, and that's sort of like where I was trying to put myself in the mindset of someone from the 1950s, because in the 50s, going to see a movie, spending literally 5 hours at the movie theater was not an uncommon thing until like, I want to say like the 60s.
Once TV became more common, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You buy your daily ticket, you'd see an A movie, a B movie, a short, and a newsreel. And like, if you're in the 50s and you don't have TV and you can't really like fly, people can fly, but obviously not. It's not a common thing. It still isn't as common as we like
Nope.
think of. Where else are you gonna get to see Japan or India or that's what I think its actual selling point was, more than the comedy. It was like, hey,
see the world.
Yeah.
See the world.
See the world and a whole buttload of familiar faces while you're at it.
Yeah.
We do have to talk about just this deranged list of cameos.
I hate to say they don't do this, they don't make them like this anymore, but yeah, this became like a film pastime that kind of died around. Was Rat Race the final nail in that coffin?
Rat Race is this is entirely off topic, but Rat Race is such a weird instance of it. I feel like Rat Race was an attempt to revive it by copying the most well-regarded. Rat Race is a remake of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Yeah.
And it's much worse than that movie. It's much worse. Like, it's exhausting to watch.
Yeah. It's just basically we're looking at this going, when was the last time we had a film where it's like they just stacked the cast for the sake of stacking the cast?
I guess the Muppets do it sometimes.
I was gonna say, like, pretty much every Muppet movie.
The Muppets are like the one happy exception these days.
Yeah, and we barely get those anymore.
Thanks, Disney.
I guess like 30 Rock kind of did it as best I can tell, and I don't have any information backing that up, but backing this thought up. But my main assumption about how 30 Rock pulled it off is, you know, you would fly into New York to be on SNL, and hey, Lauren Michaels is also producing 30 Rock. You want to go cameo on 30 Rock? It'll be fun.
I mean, it paid off.
But like the thing about Rat Race is, you say it's trying to do this exact same thing, and then you look at, like, maybe it's just because it's 20 years later, and a lot of these names ain't what they used to be. But like, what are they actually getting in Rat Race? They got what? Like, who were the big names in that movie?
Wasn't Whoopi Goldberg in there?
Whoopi Goldberg's, I think, the biggest name in there. Maybe like Rowan Atkinson was not a big American name.
But also, we are fools considering the fact the trailer just dropped the Knives Out series.
Oh shit, you're right.
Knives Out does do that, but Knives Out, they're all like characters.
Well, yes.
It is. Knives Out is not recreating It's a Mad World. It's recreating like the Poirot mysteries from the 70s and 80s.
But it's like we're all going back to like Around the World in 8 Days. It's that model of we're just larding up the cast with like big names for the sake of the star power rather than
leaning into their strengths.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, some of these I actually didn't mind. Like the Peter Lorre one kind of worked. The Buster Keaton one worked. The Sinatra one was just such an obvious mug. I almost yelled at the screen.
I mean, from what I've heard, he couldn't really act, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe for the best.
I don't get Sinatra. People get mad at me when I say that. Older people get really mad at me. I don't get him. I'm sorry.
I don't get why so many women were fawning over him. Like, I like some of his songs, but they're not even his songs. Most of them were just jazz standards, but he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just the blue eyes? Because we have so many celebrities with very pretty blue eyes that are much hotter, guys.
I will say, because this is information that I feel is important for everyone to have, which if you know me very well, as I think both of you know, is usually a prelude to me subjecting you to information. And first off, very important, I need you all to know that Rat Race, which I've been looking up, one of its big names in there was Wayne Knight. Remember him?
Yes, vaguely, but yes.
But do we all know who directed Rat Race?
Pull the pin, madam.
It was Jerry Zucker of the group Zucker Abrams Zucker who directed notably Airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to know what else he directed that is eligible for this podcast?
Go on.
He directed Ghost.
Holy crap.
How did I never know one of the Airplane guys directed Ghost?
Also eligible for my podcast, actually.
What's the connection there? I need to know.
So basically, it's the whole idea that apparently it was inspired by Hamlet. It was just like, but what if it was from the point of view of Hamlet's father's ghost?
Okay, I can see it.
You know what? I'll take that adaptation over the attempt Orson Scott Card made.
Woo!
What?
The less said about that mess, the better.
Probably, but I'm fascinated.
Yeah, tell me after. I want to know about this nightmare.
I'll just say much of that story is the big reason people know Orson Scott Card is a huge homophobe.
Oh.
And let's leave it at that for now.
Damn, okay.
I'm throwing myself into Long Island Sound. We are talking around this movie. Stay on the non-subject.
So I will make one last brief pivot to the shambling corpse that was the let's stuff the cast thing. Rat Race did have one name that still endures today, albeit ironically. And this is, I remember because it is the one line for that movie that's etched into my brain. Oh my god, it's Smash Mouth!
Remember Smash Mouth?
I mean, yeah, All-Star is definitely still consistently played. I know somebody who did a cover of it in the style of the B-52s. It's great.
Actually, I could picture that working.
I will send you the link at the end.
I am extremely excited, and we might have gotten there already, but if we haven't, If we have, send me the link. If we haven't, I'm extremely excited for when we finally get to the point where we get a slow, sad, intense cover of All Star for trailers.
Somebody did a cover like I want to say like 5 or 10 years ago.
No, 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 not some joking cover on YouTube. I want that in a trailer.
Fair
I
enough.
want Transformers 7. Oh God, they got Michael Bay back to have have to be cut to All Star.
Aren't they trying to make Shrek 5 happen?
Trying being the key word.
Yeah.
Oh, around the world in 80 days. You see what you've done to us?
I have this issue about with culture having apparently died in 2008, and all we can do is recreate. You ever see Soylent Green, and like one of the details about that movie is that they can't create a new culture because all the trees are dead, so all the books, so there's no paper,
Oh, geez, that's right.
so it's just the same culture repeated.
Damn.
Anyway,
All right.
We don't even have that excuse. This is... God, I want a day drink now.
anyway. Don't know why I got off on that. We're talking about Around the World in 80 Days, which I think is, I guess, kind of proof that... No, because, like, I feel like adapting books from the 1870s is not quite the same thing, even in the 50s, as, like,
No.
making sequels to movies from 20 years ago that people are broadly nostalgic for.
Yeah, this isn't really one of the Jules Verne's that really gets made a lot. You have not seen The Rock try to tackle a version of this yet.
The what now?
In terms of like Jules Verne adaptations, this isn't even the most obscure one I can think of. Although that answer is, for a lot of people, is a needlessly deep cut anyway.
Cut away. Take your knife.
So there is a Japanese anime called Galactic Drifter After Vipon, which is basically a sci-fi reskin of his story 2 Weeks Vacation.
Fascinating.
It's honestly a good series, although I have not gotten the chance to read the original story it's based off of.
Well, like, so Jules Verne was part of the era of novel writing that was, how do I put this in a way that is accurate but not mean, extraordinarily serialized,
Yeah.
because it was literally being published chapter by chapter.
And just spending a whole lot of time just describing how the technology that he came up with for his novels that would eventually see reflections in modernity. Just going into extensive detail there.
Speaking of insane cameos, they have Edward R. Murrow show up to, like, talk about Jules Verne in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like the first 5 minutes, about 3 of which are actually dedicated to George Méliès.
Yeah, they also just show all of Journey to the Moon, in case you were curious. Which, that was the thing that made me decide I wanted to, like, try to approach this film as someone in the 50s would. Because I'm like, why the fuck are they showing this entire short film beat, beat, beat? Oh, the average audience member in 1950 would not have had an opportunity to see this.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I was like, okay, I gotta actually try to get myself in that mindset, which I was able to do inconsistently. I'm not... It's hard to, like, in the same way that it's hard to take this movie's transgressions seriously, it's very hard to take this movie's intentions seriously. It was published week to week, and it feels like it. It feels like, you know, here is the thing that's going to happen this week in the magazine. See you next week.
It really does feel like this was made for a TV series that, of course, could not have existed yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose actually now's the good time to point out, again, the reminder, this thing is 3 hours and it won Best Editing this year.
What was it up against that year?
Hold on, let me pull up the list again.
Yeah, because, I call bullshit. But then again, like I said, different standards back then. I feel like, it's the old days. We got to figure out something to do. I know. We'll watch a 3-hour travelogue.
Okay, so the movies it beat: The Brave One, Giant, Somebody Up There Likes Me, and The Ten Commandments.
Okay. Ten Commandments is also overlong.
But at least you can see that things happen in it.
Stuff does happen in that movie. It is much more...
It's much more overtly spectacle.
Giant is a lot better edited, in my opinion. It's also quite long, but I feel like it's better edited. I've not seen the Brave one or Somebody Up There Likes Me. Feel free to come kill me, people. Somebody Up There Likes Me fans.
Sure.
I've never heard of that film. I mean, I know the phrase.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, for what it's worth, it does qualify for this show. It did get best cinematography for a black and white movie that year.
We'll find out someday then. Totally derailed. My thought was that, like, so Jules Verne is primarily known today as a sci-fi writer, and it's interesting because, like, what struck me watching this is there is no sci-fi tech in this movie.
Could have easily happened too.
Yeah. The only time they even kind of get close is the weird little balloon sled, and even that's not really sci-fi as much as just kind of outlandish.
And so part of me almost kind of wonders if this was like, again, I'm not an expert on Jules Verne. I never really got into his work very much. But this kind of, it feels a little bit like, I don't know, maybe like a dare, like, okay, write a book about something that could happen today and make it interesting,
And yeah, going around the world in 80 days would have been quite the feat back then. Obviously now.
I could do it.
Obviously not the case. Yeah, you could do it. You could not only do it, you could do it way faster.
Yeah.
Again, I could see how this could be escapist for someone in the 19th century or even in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see the vision. It's just like, that's part, maybe that's the main reason.
Actually, yeah, so just looking this up, apparently, yeah, it was, a lot of people had already been kind of doing ideas based on this, and Verne sort of ran with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe that's the real reason it didn't really survive, because, like, once you take out, like, the visual spectacle, which isn't really, like, it looks very nice. The best cinematography Oscar, fair enough. I 100% fine with that. It looks very pretty. I will even let you take score. You know what? Score, good score. Very nice to listen to.
Yeah.
I can see how it would be influential. But maybe the reason it didn't really survive is because once you step outside of that time period where those are, this is an interesting movie to look at because, you don't get to see those parts. Once that's no longer an impressive achievement,
Yep.
there's just not much there.
You got to throw in some cartoons for it, I guess.
I'm not throwing in on a Looney Tune during intermission. The movie's long enough.
No. I mean that there is a Looney Tunes version of it.
And I mean, some of the kind of the creakier around the world elements of it, they're a little more forgiving in animation as opposed to having actual actors playing out some of those tropes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. What they did with Aouda was they literally just made her a pink bird to kind of be Tweety's not love interest, and they named her Aouga, and they called her that because she made the Aouga noise.
Oh, that's right. Tweety Bird is a guy.
That kind of works as a thread the needle, I'll grant that.
Yeah, Tweety is indeed a guy.
It does not feel like it.
Honestly, non-binary king as far as I'm concerned.
You went someplace. I was gonna say, like, is Tweety Bird a femboy? The greatest thread in the history of Something Awful, locked after 3,000 pages of heated debate.
Also acceptable.
No, don't encourage me to say shit like that, Jasmine.
Like, all I'll say is, in the tradition of a lot of the Looney Tunes rivalries, he's kind of a sadistic asshole.
He is. But they all are. That's the fun of Looney Tunes.
Again, that's the dynamic.
Yes. And also, he is trying to eat him, so.
That's true.
True.
I will never get much of a chance to discuss Looney Tunes on this pod. It's not like, unless I do a short stay, it's not like Space Jam won 3 Oscars.
You know what? That's probably for the best, because what it could have won, what would have been the most likely winner for, I don't know if we're ready to have that talk.
R. Kelly Oscar winner.
Yep.
Was it nominated? I had to have been nominated.
I would be shocked if it wasn't.
We didn't know. We didn't know what R. Kelly was gonna do.
I feel like that's another on my list of, if I had a time machine, I'm going back in time and going,
hey guys,
how much you want to bet these people are going to turn out to be
terrible?
Yep.
Best original song from 1996. Nope, no nomination.
That is surprising, actually.
The nominees were I Finally Found Someone from The Mirror Has Two Faces. No idea what the fuck that is.
It did win a Grammy, but you don't do Grammys, so you are safe.
Bullet dodged.
That Thing You Do from That Thing You Do. Fair enough. Because You Loved Me from Up Close and Personal. Once again, no idea what that is.
Yeah, that was kind of an inescapable one for a while there.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that. That's a good. I mean, that's a solid Celine Dion song.
For the first time from One Fine Day, I'm sound like a broken record, but no idea what the fuck that is. And the winner, You Must Love Me from Evita.
Yeah, that's right.
So a Madonna film is eligible for this podcast. Brace for that, everybody.
Evita's actually pretty decent, like
I've heard.
compared to her other attempts at being an actress.
I mean, that's also your best shot to discuss the very interesting career of Alan Parker, which is some very good movies and a oh dear god, what the hell happened at the very end.
Dang.
We are really talking around this movie.
There's not much to talk about.
This is, I mean, that's sort of like the joke that I'm like, the joke of the pod at this point is like, we can just talk about whatever we want to that's kind of like broadly related to the film, but I don't have any strong thoughts. I have a handful of lines that like stood out to me as something funny, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I mean, as something for people to look forward to in the future, Shirley MacLaine had two other Best Picture wins that are both much better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that the only thing I've ever actually seen her in was The Celluloid Closet.
Really?
You ever seen The Children's Hour? That's surprising.
I know, I need to. It's been on my list since I saw The Celluloid Closet, because of course they talk about The Children's Hour in The Celluloid Closet.
Mm-hmm.
Again, even outside of if you're ever on those episodes for it, Terms of Endearment and The Apartment are both worth checking out.
Yes, agreed. Someday we'll talk about The Apartment. I'm actually very excited for that one. I did want to know it. I was like trying to remember, like, did they make fun of the British? And then I remembered, like, the opening. I'm looking at my notes. The opening scene of the movie is just like, hey, here's this club of old British guys. They are huge jackasses.
I mean, I will admit, that was actually the very end bit with it'll be the end of the British Empire did get a genuine laugh out of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, promise?
It was mostly a setup for him to look straight at the camera and go, this is the end. Which, again, that's not nothing. That's funny. That's not quite a movie's over, go home. But you know what? I'll take it. I will.
Yeah, it's like, it worked.
Yeah.
Yes.
It got. There are several moments where I can admit, here in a safe place among friends, it got a laugh from me. Movie made me laugh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Every so often it did.
The fucking butlers talking about how Fogg is insane, even though he's a member of this gentleman's club, and one of them responds, well, excessive sanity is not really a requirement for that institution. Very good. Gotta laugh.
I mean, with that, on a sliding scale of, like, put upon servants, that visually, because my brain was wired for Simpsons moments, that was the we'll take the spruce moose hop in for me.
No, that's a different Oscar-winning movie that I already covered, Todd.
I just mean in terms of that degree of a servant realizing, oh god, my employer's insane.
There's a lot of, you know, if I'm being nice to the movie, which now that I've been extremely mean to the movie for the last 45 minutes, I can be a little nice. There's a lot of extremely good, like, very deadpan comedy in this movie. Like, especially, you know, obviously Fogg is really good at it. Everything he does is deadpan. But I was extremely fond of, like, Passepartout gets a knife thrown at him and he just picks it up and puts it in his pocket. It's a very good, like, very low, you know, for all that it's like, I'm trying to think of how I would describe the plot. Because, like, they keep cutting back to the British guys following his journey and, like, okay, they're going to try to sabotage him. No, they don't really do much of anything, frankly.
So that was actually one of the big reasons I wanted to double check the plot. Was like, initially I had no memory of that, and the original, like, okay, no, this isn't the original book. I just somehow completely memory hold it because, again, I'd last crossed this thing. I think I was still still teens, preteens at that point.
There's just nothing there.
I remember when I was, like, I want to say, like, 7 or 8. I had this abridged copy of Dracula, which is... They didn't have an abridged copy of Carmilla, so I couldn't start that brand of mental illness until later.
I mean, it's a novella. Why would you need one?
Well, because, like, it was also, like... as I discovered later, cutting out some content. But like, what struck me about it when I got to be an adult and actually sat down and read Dracula
Yep.
is in the abridged version they sold to kids, they completely cut out the element where it is an epistolatory novel,
Mm-hmm.
which is so fascinating to me because I would consider that key to what makes Dracula work.
It's one of the most interesting things about the novel, I would argue.
Yeah. I'm hearing it's like, how do you even do that?
It's part of the reason why I feel like it kind of loses a lot of steam after the last voyage of the Demeter. Like, it just kind of doesn't have the oomph anymore. So, I would be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if they cut out a lot of stuff, even very vital stuff to the appeal of the book from an abridged version they sold to kids. I think we had one War of the Worlds that did something similar.
The one other abridged I remember,
Topical.
I know why they abridged it. Was like it was an abridged version of Moby Dick, which basically pulled out every single chapter of Herman Melville pontificating on whaling.
Yeah,
Which
that
like
tracks.
that's half the book gone right there.
Yep.
I mean, we'll not talk about War of the Worlds right now. We'll have to cover it in a few months when it inevitably wins Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director.
Oh, it's got a steamroll.
I really want to watch that. I really need to watch that movie.
Oh yeah, me too. Honestly, I do want to cover it one day just so I could say I did. I would have covered it as soon as it dropped when it was popular if I had had time, but alas.
Alas. I mean, I never do anything in a timely manner. Here I am covering a movie from the 1950s no one's thought about in 45 years.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe like some Jules Verne completist, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, I think the two groups of people who'd be interested in this are Jules Verne completists and Oscar completists, and, well...
There you are.
I guess that's where we are.
Yeah. Here we sit. And maybe, like, someone would be interested in the deranged number of cameos. I was extremely amused when the train conductor in San Francisco says a line that I don't remember what it was, but he said something. I'm like, is that fucking Buster Keaton?
Yes.
And I went and looked up, like, yeah.
Which I think the only reason I even recognized it was like because I had seen one of his other late live appearances, and I was like, one funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Yes.
Much better movie than this.
Much better movie than this. Much shorter movie than this.
Also, yes.
And also a musical. Honestly, I was waiting for musical numbers to happen. This felt like this needed musical numbers.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite on the level of, like, Anna Karenina, where I'm sitting there watching it and, like, you are musically edging me. Like, you are setting up for a musical number. Just do a musical number, god damn it.
They kind of were, though, especially with the dance scene in Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I was... And that's another thing that I feel like isn't as interesting to watch, in that if I want to watch that kind of dancing, I can go on YouTube and see that. Whereas maybe there is something to that. Maybe we did... There's this really great video by a music critic where he talks about how part of the reason why music is so devalued right now is because there's no effort to obtain it.
Yeah.
You don't get your money, go down to the record shop, pick out a specific record, and bring it home and put it in your record player. You click 2 buttons on Spotify and it's up. And so, like, there is something that could be said about something we kind of lost when... And this is not me being a total Luddite. I'm not a metaphorical Luddite. I'm a political Luddite. The politics of the Luddite movement have gotten erased in hindsight. But, I do feel like we kind of lost something when we started to devalue a lot of art forms because they're just so easy to access these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of why I'm glad for podcasts like this. They give me an incentive to go digging again.
Aw.
My podcast is a machine that turns, oh yeah, I've been meaning to watch that, into, oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yes, exactly. I feel like all of our podcasts are kind of trying to do that. Also, turns out there is an Around the World in 80 Days musical. Music and lyrics by Cole Porter, book by Orson Welles.
Okay, I did not see that last part coming.
It closed after 75 performances on Broadway back in the 40s. So it predates this movie.
Okay, I'm texting Bex. Yeah, that's maybe it was the plan at some point, or maybe they just couldn't like. Again, like $6 million this movie had a budget of $6 million, which in 1956 money is not cheap. Like, it sounds cheap to us. Like, I think that's like what I Saw the TV Glow cost.
Apparently, this was supposed to be an adaptation of it.
Yeah, so like maybe they just couldn't afford to do the musical numbers. Like, okay, I'm looking at the other movies that were nominated for Best Picture. Friendly Persuasions had a budget of $3 million. Giant had a budget of $5.4 million. Ten Commandments. Okay, that had a budget of $13 million. Yeah, that tracks.
As I'd say, I'd be impressed if that was somehow cheaper.
$4.5 million for The King and I. $6 million is blockbuster budget in those days. So like,
Yeah, and it turns out the producer of this movie also produced the musical.
The double dip.
I am fascinated by why this would do. Okay, so as our, all of us are, I think I'll call it relapsing theater kids.
I never left.
Since we had to work around Todd's rehearsal schedule and you and me appearing in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern tonight to schedule this. So I guess I will ask the forum, do we think this movie would have been improved if they'd had musical numbers? And if so, where would you put them?
Yes, I think I would have had at least a little bit more fun. If you're gonna have a 3-hour old-timey movie, it had better be a fucking musical.
A 3-hour tour.
So, and especially because they're saying it was going to be Cole Porter music, that could potentially help punch this up.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
And in terms of
just make an adaptation of that, yeah.
Where we would put songs, calling it now, the entire discussion with the Reform Club is turning into a song.
Absolutely, yes.
God, trying to think what else. There'd probably be something around the whole Passepartout with the circus moment.
Definitely songs on the trains or the boats. Maybe I'd buy Aouda and Fogg more.
Yep.
If they sung to each other.
Yeah, exactly. If they had gotten a nice little love duet.
I do not get what she sees in him. I would not want to spend 3 hours with that man, much less the rest of my life.
She is way too cool for him.
She is way too cool for him.
Again, a better movie might have actually almost played the humor of, like, she's humoring his card stories, but this, we weren't that lucky.
Like, but no, she's just like, oh, must you be so British?
I think that, like, part of the...
She's down bad.
You know what? Maybe he is by happenstance of fate matching her freak.
That's also a possibility. This is a movie about very particular people, so
true.
To instantly demonetize this video on YouTube, maybe she's just one of those people who looks at a guy talking about his card game skills and just goes, "I should peg him."
You know what? Good for her. Good for her.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to picture that. His expression is not changing once.
Oh. See, I knew we could make this one interesting. I just had to get weird about it.
So, actually, to go back to the movie, one other thing I will give the movie in terms of, okay, that got a laugh out of me. The setup and callback to I left the gas on was I didn't think you'd pay off the joke there, but okay, you got me.
It was a good payoff, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I want to do the math. I am reasonably certain he spends more than he stood to win, winning the bet.
Which again goes to my point. Fogg's a problem gambler. He's like the British answer to fucking Howie from Uncut Gems.
I'm looking at my notes. I did have a note of... Okay, at the end when he's, like, burning the boat that he's on to get to England on time, okay, he's just a crazy person.
And, I mean, pour one out for those sailors, because they're out of work when they get to England at that point. He's just bought and destroyed their livelihood.
Good for him, I guess. Don't know what he's up to.
Just, if someone had written a character quite this quirky in the modern day without the context, people would absolutely be like, ugh, about it.
I mean, I kind of want to, along similar lines to Jazz's earlier idea about the Aouda story, I kind of want the version that's told from Passepartout's perspective of, so I've been hired by a crazy person.
I think writing it from Passepartout's perspective is actually a much more interesting move, not least because
Yeah.
Passepartout is the dude who does everything.
Yep. He's an active character.
Yeah. And I mean, if we use this version as a gauge, like you could create this guy as having like this entire wild backstory before he even gets hired in the first place.
I have one of my notes, like, when after she gets rescued from being burned alive for reasons I didn't 100% follow, I think it's intended to be like a Viking funeral where the wife has to die too.
That is something that happened historically, I will say that.
Yeah.
I do not think it was still happening at the time, though.
All right, we reluctantly have to give it to him.
Yeah, no, that was like something that I distinctly remember reading in my history textbooks as a sixth grader.
I thought it was going to turn out to be she needed to be rescued from like thuggies, since they spent 5 minutes setting them up, and then that just never comes back. They just have that conversation for no reason.
But yeah, I do not know if that was still happening at that point, especially with British colonialism.
Oh yeah.
I have my doubts.
But they have like an exchange on the boat from India where she's like, "Thank you for saving me," and I'm just sitting there going, "He didn't do anything. He told other people to do it."
Didn't I?
Oh, I would have honestly. I would have get with Passepartout. I think you two will be very happy together.
You can't be happy with Passepartout. He's way too much of a womanizer. That is his one character trait.
That is true. That is true.
Everyone gets one character trait, and his character trait is womanizer.
How would you describe Aouda then?
There.
Girl as girl.
So he weighed between, do I add this to the scorecard or do I keep my job? And apparently job won out.
Yeah, it goes back to what I don't get what you see in that guy. I don't know. You go through Shanghai. You're 80 years too early, but if you hang around for a while, you'll run into a Suki going the other way. Just hang out there.
Let's get Aouda into a time travel story. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do. I mean, like, we're sitting here talking about how, I was joking earlier that we could do like, why does this story endure? And the answer is it doesn't really. Around the World in 80 Days is a very, even by the standards of Jules Verne, who I don't think has lasted quite in the way a lot of other authors from his time period have.
H.G. Wells specifically.
Oh yeah.
H.G. Wells is exactly the name I was thinking of.
They're often being pitted against each other. There's even an attraction from Disneyland Paris that pitted them against each other.
Yeah, like, he just hasn't lasted the same way as most of his contemporaries, even people before him. You're not seeing Guillermo del Toro doing a big budget adaptation of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Although he definitely could.
He definitely could. Guillermo del Toro can do whatever he wants.
I mean, they do have like that AMC Nemo TV series, but that's something else.
That's been in a development hell for so long too. Like, they've been trying to do another 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for like a decade now.
Yeah, because like prior to this, I think the last really it had any impact technically wasn't even that. It was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
A very good movie, yes.
I mean, I was referring to the comic, but yeah, that movie was a thing.
Sure does exist. I broke Jasmine. I mean, I think that they're all running into the same issue, which is that every time someone sits down, okay, I'll make 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. God damn it, that's out the other side of the planet.
Yeah, you'd kind of have to adjust those numbers at the very least.
Maybe they sail into the House of Leaves, which is larger than the solar system.
Oh, God.
Now you're probably wondering, what's a Minotaur doing under the water?
There is some debate about whether or not there is actually a Minotaur even in the book. Anyway, until we get our film adaptation of House of Leaves, I guess.
So, funny enough, apparently, actually, they did try to do like a TV adaptation of that. Daniel Lusky wrote scripts for it.
Fascinating.
You can actually buy them off his website.
Wow.
Mark, I love you. That's my response. I don't really know. I mean, like, I'm impressed, man. I was really scared we were gonna have to like tap out after 45 minutes. Just nothing to say about the film. So you know what?
Kudos to us.
Yeah.
Why does this, Jasmine? To go back to my earlier joke, why does you think this story endures?
I mean, for how little it does, people love an adventure. Like, even if we can travel around the world in much quicker time than 80 days, like, the idea of an old timey adventure with a hot air balloon and just seeing the world, there's something there. Fuck it. I know it's a cliche that you are sick of Ellie, but I would like to see what the Muppets would do with this.
Ooh.
You know what? That's actually my problem is that everyone always names the same 5 things. Oh, Muppet Princess Bride, Muppet Lord of the Rings. No, come up with something new. So you know what? I'll take it.
Yay!
I stand by my usual answer for the Muppet one. It's either Muppet Wicker Man or Muppet the Devils. Either way, the end is the Muppets burning a respectable British actor alive.
Damn.
See, Todd knows what I'm here for. Give me Muppet Enter the Void, damn it.
Well, there you go. I gave you something different. Hooray.
You gave me something different.
This is one that could work with the Muppet formula really well.
Oh, really well.
It would work extremely well with the Muppet formula. It would give them an opportunity to drag in the various regionalized Muppets from different versions of Sesame Street.
Ooh.
Good call.
I'd rock with that.
You could get a stuffy but lovable British actor to be Phineas. You get Kermit to be Passepartout. Get Miss Piggy to be Aouda.
Actually, I was like, I'm going to stop you on one point, Ellie. I think we all know Passepartout's got to be Gonzo.
Oh, you're right.
You bring back on the Gonzo and Rizzo Dream Team.
Yeah.
Or Gonzo and Pepe if you want to go the Muppets Haunted Mansion route.
No, actually, you're right. It's Gonzo's got to be Fogg, and Rizzo has to be Passepartout.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, my third eye is wide open.
Disney, get on it.
Disney, I work for you already. Shoot me an email.
So you got an inside woman. Get in on this.
I don't actually monitor my Disney email, but shoot it to my personal one. Anyone got anything they want to plug?
Well, as mentioned, I am the host of A Neat Retelling, the podcast where we explore all the ways old tales are made new. We have not talked about Jules Verne yet, but given that I'm about to be doing a Back to the Future rewatch in a couple of months, who knows? Maybe we will.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find me at Favorite VR on all the socials.
Todd, anything you'd like to plug?
Well, I mean, outside the rehearsal thing, it's like, that's a little too localized. I will just say the show in question is The Crucible, but that's a point for another time. We're into October, coming up, which means I am back on I'm going to do a deep dive writing about horror films kick soon. Instead of doing a franchise this time, I'm going through the various films adapted from Stephen King's Night Shift collection, which is going to be, considering that includes The Mangler, Children of the Corn, and Maximum Overdrive, that's going to be a fun month of trash.
Hell yeah.
As always, you can find me, Ellie, on Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos with dashes between the words. You can find me on Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42. And you can find this podcast on Blue Sky at Biggest Night Pod. We are available on both Spotify and YouTube. And if you follow us on YouTube, be sure to give us a subscribe, maybe like and comment on the videos so that you can tell me which parts you like and which parts you don't.
And thank you to both Todd and Jasmine for coming out and finding something to say about this movie that is not, that thanks to the changes in technology, is not particularly relevant to modern life. But I decided that for our next movie, we should talk about a movie that is still extremely relevant despite changes to technology. So for our next episode, we are going to be talking about Network.
Ooh.
We are, in fact, mad as hell and not going to take it anymore. And I hope I will see you there.
Goddamn right.